Hi, I'm Sonia from My Dulce Hogar, where I share how I'm remodeling, making improvements to my house in a simple way and with a small budget. Today I'm going to share with you how my husband and I, remodeled the main bathroom of the house and how we saved a ton of money in the process. Had we done a full remodel, replaced everything, or hired someone to do it for us, I estimate we would have spent maybe $5,000 to $8,000 on the low end. But we did not have that kind of money, it's not in our budget, and so we decided to make minor improvements, things that are a bit temporary, but that now put all together totally changes the appearance and makes the bathroom look a lot better. So I'm going to leave links to everything that we used in the video in the description box, so check there. And be sure to stay to the end to find out exactly how much money we invested. You're going to be surprised by that amount. All right, let's get started. I could tell that this bathroom, like the rest of the house, had been neglected for a long time. This is the state in which we found it. Aside from the old-fashioned, dark and dirty look, my biggest concern was the mold. I don't know if because there is no window in this bathroom or why, but there was a lot of mold everywhere. I tried to wash everything very well. I scrubbed and scrubbed, but it did not come off. Neither the colors nor the finishes are in a style I like. And as you can see, the walls were all made of tile, which looked dingy, and it took a lot of work to keep it clean. The tub had stains and mold that I couldn't remove. The shower head and the hardware had rusted. The floor was blue and it had cracked in some areas. The toilet was also blue. The vanity countertop was yellow with bluish veins. All of these things which I did not like. I would have liked to demolish everything and start from scratch, but we didn't have that much money to spend, so we decided to simply give it a small facelift. The first thing we did within the first several days after moving in was to replace the toilet. And that's because there was really a lot of mold around it and it was disgusting. So we went to buy a new toilet. We chose the cheapest one we could find at Home Depot. When we went to install it, we found that the tube or the pipe where the toilet sits needed repair. But instead of replacing the entire thing, we added these brackets as a temporary repair. The sink and the shower faucets were leaking, so we replaced them as well. The pipes in the shower were an old model, so we had to upgrade those in order to use the new faucet that I bought. We also ran into difficulties with the sink faucet because the pipe was very old and rusted, so repairs had to be made there as well. I already knew that I wanted the design in black and white, so I bought the fixtures in the black color with the matte finish, and they look very modern. Starting from top to bottom, we fixed the lamp. It was dirty and emitted a yellow light, so we cleaned it well, changed the bulbs, and put a new cover on it. Even after cleaning this vent, it still looked ugly, so we spray painted the grate white, and the inside part we spray painted it black, and now it looks so much better. This is a hole in the roof of the shower that was just taped over. Talking to the previous owner of the house, he remembers that this hole has been there for like around 20 years or so, and he never got around to fixing it. So we finally patched it up. This other corner of the shower also needed repairs. We put silicone on it, sanded it down, and then it was ready for painting. After painting the ceiling, we continued with the walls. Since these have tile on them, we had to prepare them well, or else the paint was not going to stick. So we gave it a good sanding, cleaned off the dust, and then applied this bonding primer, which is a special primer for this type of surface. We let the primer dry, and then it was ready for paint. At first, I wanted to use the same white color that we used on the walls of the rest of the house. But then I decided I needed a little color, so I changed it to a light blue. It's almost white, but in person it does look a little blue. The name of the color is Maryland's Dress by Benjamin Moore. He painted the edges with a brush, and I painted the rest with the roller. Next, we started to work on the vanity. First, we removed everything that was inside the drawers and the cabinet. While he was preparing the sink to be painted, I removed the drawers and I removed the doors. I gave the entire cabinet a good cleaning with the rag and an all-purpose cleaner and with the shop vac. Then I sanded it to remove some of the old paint so it would be smooth and the new paint could hold well. After sanding, we cleaned it again to remove the dust. To paint the cabinet, we used white paint in a semi-gloss finish and a brush. You can do this with a small roll called the wheelie roll, which would probably be easier, but we didn't have one, so we used a brush. The sink was the same ugly color as the countertop, so we painted it white. This spray paint is especially made for appliances or for other smooth surfaces, such as the sink. So he had to sand it down first, and then he painted it. The first coat was very light, so that the second coat would stick well. It has a very strong smell, so I recommend you use a mask and have plenty of ventilation. I took the drawers and the doors outside so I could have a little more room to work. I started by removing the handles. I thought about reusing them by painting them black and that way saving a little bit of money, but they had a bit of rust on them, so I would have had to sand them first before painting, and I didn't think it was worth the trouble. So the new handles aren't very expensive anyway, and these old handles went to the trash. Then I cleaned the drawers and doors with a rag and a multi-purpose cleaner. By the way, this is a DIY cleaner that I make myself. It works very well and it saves me from buying expensive cleaners at the store. Let me know if you want to know how I make it. I'll give you the recipe. Then I used a machine to sand only the areas that were to be painted. I recommend you buy a machine like this because it makes the job so much easier and you can finish faster. They're not very expensive either. I'll leave the link for this sanding machine in the description box. I really appreciate having his help because he comes and checks that I'm doing things right and that it's turning out well. You can't see it on the screen, but while I was sanding, he was painting the drawers and the doors. And this is how they looked after we finished painting them. After the paint dried, I installed the new handles. I chose them in black with a matte finish so that it would match the sink faucet and it will also match and go well with the entire look of the bathroom. These are very easy to install. They already come with the screws that you need. For the doors, we had to make a slight adjustment. These previously had knobs as the handle, so there was only one hole. But since I did not find any knobs I liked, I decided to use the same pull handles as our drawers. So we had to drill one more hole in order to install the pull handles. Back at the vanity, the drawers go in easily, no problem. But to reinstall the doors is a little bit more tricky because you have to make sure that both of them are level. Because if they're not, when you close the doors, they look crooked. And that's what happened to us. So after some adjustments, now they are fine. They're both level. They look great. For the countertop, I would have liked to replace the entire thing with a new stone, a new slab. But since that didn't fit in the budget, we decided to simply cover it up. At first, we had planned to paint it white, just like the sink. But then I thought there's already too much white in here, so I want a little bit of color. We decided to buy a sticky contact paper that looks as if it was marble stone. Like everything in this project, I started by cleaning the surface well. Then I started cutting the paper very carefully, very slowly to keep the lines straight. But then he came and gave me this suggestion.
Mete bien y lo puedes cortar en otro lugar allá con la ruler de volado.
Well, I paid attention to him, and yes, it was easier to cut it like that. This first piece that we started to put down did not turn out well because we cut the hole for the faucet wrong. I had to go get a new piece, but oh well, live and learn, right? Okay, now between the two of us, we laid down the paper and used a card or flat surface and our hands to flatten it down, glue it down so that there were no air bubbles. We put tape around where the contact paper meets the sink. This is so we can seal the edge with silicone caulking. This way, when water is spilled, which I'm sure will happen because this is a sink, that way it won't damage the paper. We are also going to seal the top where the paper meets the wall, as well as the seam where the two parts are joined, but here it's going to be transparent or clear so that you can't see it. Now we are going to paint the tub and the shower walls. This is the same process as when we painted the tile walls, except that the paint is special. This is an epoxy paint, just like the one we used in the sink. This area had rounded like corner tiles which were moldy. We removed those and patched it. After sanding the area, we cleaned all the surfaces, the walls, and the tub with a TSP cleaner that's diluted in water because it's very strong. Then you rinse that off and you let it dry completely before starting to paint. This epoxy paint has a very strong chemical odor. Since there is no window in this bathroom, it took a couple weeks for the smell to go away completely. Now we are going to install the new floor and the baseboard, which is the wooden edge that goes on the wall where it meets the floor. The type of flooring that we used is vinyl plank flooring. It is made of vinyl, so it's plastic, but it looks like wood. The name of the color we chose is Desert Rose, and we chose this material because it is cheap, waterproof, and easy to install. You don't even have to remove the old floor. You simply install the vinyl pieces on top of the tile. To cut the baseboard, here he is explaining to me how to use the saw and how the cuts go at an angle and then at another angle. The truth is, I didn't really understand exactly everything that he was saying, and I did ruin some pieces, but at the end, it turned out well.
I feel like I need glasses and gloves.
No, gloves, nunca usas gloves con una sierra.
I feel I need glasses.
Gloves se te atora el dedo en una de esas y te mocha toda la mano.
To install baseboard, you'd usually use nails or screws, but since these walls are tiled, we had to use glue. And my baby Chester is very attentive, always there, ready to help. The last step is the decoration. We chose a 36-inch round mirror in black to match the other finishes. To make holes in the tile, you need a special drill bit. The regular bits for wood or drywall won't work. You also need to use an anchor to secure the screw on which the mirror will be hung. We installed two metal shells in black, again to match the rest of the finishes. We added some plants and pictures to decorate. I wanted to use real plants that are alive since I have so many of them in the backyard, but since there is no window here, they wouldn't have gotten any sunlight and I was afraid they would die. So I opted for artificial plants, some very affordable ones that I found at IKEA and at Big Lots. And with that, this project is complete. Check out the before and after. It's totally different and way better. What a huge transformation, and it only took us 2 weekends and a couple of weeknights to complete it. Are you ready for me to tell you how much money we spent in total? Well, the amount was exactly $545.44. Can you believe it? We easily saved $4,000 to $5,000, and just by doing it ourselves. I feel that it was well worth it. Now I can go into the bathroom without feeling grossed out how it was before. And I do know that in the future it is going to need a full remodel or renovation, especially with some of the plumbing issues we came across. But in the meantime, it will do, and it looks a lot better. I'm very happy how it turned out. Now remember, I've linked everything mentioned in the video in the description box, so go check there if you need any details. You can also leave me any questions or comments that you have. I'd be happy to read those and respond. If you like the video, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe as well to see more videos from me. And that's it for today.